I mean, I want to believe that maybe Shanann did it and you felt compelled to fix this so Shanann didn't look bad. That's what I want to believe. But I don't know, you're not telling me that, so it makes me think the worst. Like, did you do that to all three of them?
I did not do anything to these kids. Not do anything.
What did Shanann do to them? Tell us, Chris. Chicks are crazy.
Did not hurt these girls.
I want to make sure.
Did not hurt these girls.
So you're good with the public knowing that Shanann killed her daughters?
I did not hurt these girls.
Are you okay with the public knowing that Shanann?
Yes, because I did not hurt these girls. I didn't kill my babies. Okay.
Hi.
Remember us? Hey, Chris.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Hi, Cup of Stars. Thanks for being here. Hi, Kelly. Searches equals answers. Thanks for being here. So glad to see you. Hi, BLN. Thanks for being here, guys. So as you guys know, we started re-listening and reacting to the prison interview a couple days ago on the 3-year anniversary. It's a 4-hour and 41-minute interview, and we only got 40 minutes in. So I suspect that we'll probably be studying this for, a few more live streams for sure. There's just a lot to go over. There's a lot to talk about. A lot of lies, maybe a little bit of truth amongst the lies in this interview. But for the most part, I'm just feeling like, just like the first confession we got from Chris, this second one is just, not the truth. His first confession was he had to kill Shanann because she killed the children. And we know that that is not true. And we know that Tammy gave him that idea for that confession. So, it's clear that that was a false confession. Then he signed a plea deal, and signing the plea deal added peculiar circumstances to this case because unlike many other cases like, Scott Peterson, Jodi Arias, just, even Casey Anthony, those cases got a trial. Those cases ran evidence. They ran pictures, they looked at everything that they could, and it was set up in a courtroom. This case with the plea deal left a lot of questions and not very many answers. We've also caught the district attorney in this case lying to the public. Hi, Brooks Richards. It's good to see you. So not only do we have a district attorney who's just a shady character, it's just Chris being a compulsive, pathological liar, adds fuel to the fire, which is the case, the Chris Watts case. Hi, EBSS. So I'll just skip to the 40-minute mark and we can start listening. I believe CDT is going to join me as soon as she's done doing bedtime with the kids. So hopefully she will pop on and give us her opinion as well. Hi, Jen. Yeah, so I guess we'll just get right into it.
Like go to me with the Bronco game, watch the Arizona Cardinals. Like in my mind, it was like, go, just say, hey, I can't find a babysitter.
Nikki.
Yeah, and maybe that would have been like, like a light switch in my head goes off, light switch in her head goes off. Maybe it just like goes different directions. That was kind of like my last like opportunity to kind of get out. It seems like. So, I wish I would have said, yeah, let's go.
So remember, he is referring to the night at the Lazy Dog, the Saturday before the murders, August 11th, and he's saying that was his last opportunity to, quote, get out. And I think, honestly, that the get out refers to the plan. So I believe that they, finalized much of the plans at night together. NK claims that they talked about macros and diet and all that information and nutrients and all that on his app. And that's what their night consisted of. But I don't believe that one bit.
And I think that would have just put me on a different trajectory.
So then, Shanann, did she actually say you're never going to see the kids again?
She said that to me before.
Yeah. That's kind of hard to hear.
Yeah, because she'd said to me before she went to Arizona.
So he just said that she's said that before. Earlier in this, he'd said, she told me she wasn't, or I couldn't see the kids again, and that's how their fight started. Now she's saying that she'd said that before. So it's just not really making sense as far as her saying you're never going to see the kids again. Like, I don't think that conversation happened the night that she passed. That's just my opinion, though.
Because, I wasn't really sleeping in the bedroom. I was sleeping on.
And the whole point of saying that, I'm sorry, is if that conversation didn't happen that night, then his excuse for snapping and going ballistic, doesn't really add up. Because, why would you do that to the children if that's what got you mad, her saying that you weren't going to see them anymore?
Couch or in the basement bed or something, and she had slammed the door. You're never going to see the kids again.
Did she get fiery like that?
Only once in our entire relationship I've ever seen her that way.
Yeah. And that was a time before, or was that on the night that happened?
No, it was I'm back in North Carolina.
Oh.
It was just one of those. It was just a fiery argument that I never raised my voice to her or anything, and I just got mad and I slammed the door, and she's like, I'm like, should have slammed the door.
Was that when you were in North Carolina that last week?
No, it was like
previous to
this
that.
was 2010, 2011.
Oh.
It was early. In her old house.
Before kids?
Yes.
Were you dating or were you married at that point?
Dating.
Oh.
Yeah, it was just I don't remember what it was about. I think some girl maybe texted me from my past or something, and I was just like, this, and she was like, don't have that happen again. And I'm just like, I have friends, right? They're females,
See, thank you so much for that super chat, Dan. Always great to hear you take on all things Chris Watts, Amber. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you like listening to our thought process. And yeah, Sheila, I agree. Chris is a liar, but yeah, Tammy was not she's not what we needed. She did very well at getting that confession, and that, could be seen as good police work. But as far as truth and, could she have foreseen that this was going to get a plea deal and not a trial? Possibly not. That was just how it ended, and it was unfortunate, but in the same sense, I really wish that she didn't go down the avenue of blaming Shanann for the children's deaths. And listening to Chris kind of talk about this time in the past when Shanann got mad at him, it's just interesting and disheartening that she had to deal with him texting another girlfriend or another girl so early on. It's just kind of ugh, red flag at that moment. And I wish that she could have gotten out, and been like, you're disrespecting me, you're talking to other females, I'm out of here. But Chris is like, oh, what's the matter? You can't have females as friends, and he's over here laughing it up yeah, tricks are crazy, as Tammy would say. It's just unfortunate. Yeah, Jen said, after the confession, CBI should have got different investigators to go to the prison and get the real story. I 100% agree. And re-listening to this and reading up about, the quote PTSD, and I'm not discrediting their claims of that, and I'm not showing disrespect, and I mean the utmost respect, because I know that officers and first responders go through PTSD. But if that was the case, then maybe new eyes and new ears should have been the ones that followed it up at the prison. I totally agree. Pointer Lover, thank you so much. Hi, Amber, new subscriber here and really enjoying your channel. I'm so glad. We definitely are open-minded here. We think outside the box. So if you can do that with us, I'm so glad that you're here. And again, these are just my opinions from studying this case. Not necessarily everything I'm saying. I don't know Chris personally. I don't know Shanann personally. And I certainly don't know NK personally. But I do have gut feelings, and I just think that there's a lot more that we just don't know about. Hi, Florida. Glad you're here. And unfortunately, both the confessions that we've gotten from Chris, I believe, are not the truth.
I don't even talk to this woman anymore. Right. It was just like, no.
Was she fiery? Did she have that Italian blood that her mom has?
Lord, yes.
Was she always like that, or was she? Did she snap at things?
She would snap at me, but you could tell, if something really irked her a little bit.
Yeah.
It would come out.
0 to 100 type thing, or what?
0 to 200.
Oh, interesting.
She gets acclimated about something. She's like, all right, it's gonna happen.
Well, that's why she was probably so successful at Thrive, right?
Oh yeah, she had done a couple other direct sales business, but this one was just it was different.
Why?
This one, because I think she had done Origami Owl and something called It Works, and then other couple other things some bags and stuff like that. With the supplement stuff, just because it worked with her, it worked with me. She's like, okay, I can kind of use this as all right, this is what it's doing for us.
Yeah.
And then after a little while, she could see how people are above her, how it was helping them, and then it was just trickle down.
Yes, Valerie, as they're talking about the MLM conversation right now, which is, a little dull, I just had to pause real quick. And I 100% agree. She said, I don't think Chris would have thought of it without Tammy. I don't know. She's referring to the first confession of, did Shanann do something to those girls, Chris? And you had to do something to Shanann? I 100% do not think that Chris's mind would have gone there. He rolled with it. He was very, that's what was so crazy to kind of rewatch. And we'll eventually get to that. And I know that CDT is starting the case over as well with body cam footage, interviews, this and that. So we'll eventually watch that polygraph interview and an interrogation again. But he did not have that idea until Tammy gave it to him. And then once Tammy gave it to him and I think he thought that was, a better option and something to go down, he went with it and then stuck with it. Because she gets to the point where she's like, so you're okay with the public knowing that she did this to her girls? And he's like, yes, because I didn't hurt my girls. So it was just wow. At that moment, you just knew Chris is capable of evil things, even though I think that there's other people involved with his evil maniacal plan. The fact that he clung on to that idea that Tammy gave him, I was like, oh my gosh. And then he didn't back down off of it. Yes, because I didn't hurt them. Yes, I didn't hurt them, over and over. And it was just not good. And then Tammy, I think, knew oh, great. This is what he's sticking to. So yeah, I agree. He never would have came up with that idea.
Okay. That was a good system about commission wise and everything was just, she could use all the business IQ she has from running those cell phone shops and from the Dirty South custom shops, all that. I mean, she's business minded.
Yeah.
She knows how to do accounting book like the back of her hand. So it all just like fell into place with all that.
So then on that night, was it just a new type of fight?
It was
Never had, or what? What happened?
Yeah, it was a totally different type of fight. It was, it was just felt like, I don't know, it was more anger than anything else. Like there was emotion to it at first, and then it just felt like it was just anger. It was just like, like there was no love there. It was kind of like what we were saying, what she was saying. It was just like, it's almost like we knew like something was combating at each other. We didn't know, like it wasn't ourselves.
Really? Anger from you or anger from her?
I think it was more anger from me and more like desperation from her because she wanted to fix it.
Yeah.
She knew something wasn't right. Like, like when the whole thing with my parents happened with my parents called it Nutgate.
What happened?
Nutgate.
What's that?
The peanut.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatnot.
Oh, with her family?
Yeah.
Pistachio ice cream or whatever.
Yeah, somebody called it Nutgate.
I haven't heard that.
I haven't heard that either.
Yeah, I guess what people are calling it.
Okay.
But that was like another out. Like, maybe I could have just like stopped everything with Nikki and just kind of concentrated on helping like whatever happened there. Because like, Shannon had a story, my mom had a story. Like, I don't know, whatever happened. I probably asked my 10-year-old nephew. Probably can tell me what actually happened.
So I'm just going to pause it here and say hello to Punksy and Kels and make a few comments. Yes, CDT, I agree. He knew. Okay, so he knew Nutgate's name because of KK. And if anyone has followed this case, KK was somebody who popped up on YouTube but had been close to the family and Chris pretty quick as soon as he was arrested. You would just have to know her. But yeah, I think that's where that that terminology came up with too. And Kelly searches equals answers is referring to our little chat a second ago about how when Tammy tried to blame Shanann for the girl's death at first, and Kelly even says right here, at first he was saying, oh, no. Yeah, and that's 100% true. She said, she hinted at the fact, like, did you guys, did she do something or something like that? And he was saying, no. So at first he really did say no about Shanann hurting the kids. And then Tammy kept it up. And finally he took that as like, okay, yeah, this is what I'm going to go with and I'm going to stick to it. And then he didn't back off of it. So that's how that happened. And hi, Steve. Thanks for being here. And I just noticed him talking about love lost. And I do think like there was even him talking about Shanann right now, it's just, he stopped loving her so much sooner than the summertime. I really think that slowly over time, NK was just working her way in, and I don't know. I don't know what kind of conversations she had with Chris to, really. At one point in her notes, she mentions that the children were disrespectful towards Chris, and it was because of Shanann, like something along those lines, not verbatim. And so I just don't know if, over time she was just in his ear. And again, I'm not taking any blame off of Chris. He's where he needs to be. But it's just what was going on, what type of encouragement, what kind of manipulation was being, put on him, by NK. And in some cases, I mean, they've held people accountable for telling other people to kill themselves, So it's like, it makes you wonder, like, what she could be, what level of involvement she had, pretty much.
Well, and they both have their feelings for good reasons, and they both didn't see it the other person's way. And
yeah, and like maybe I didn't talk to my parents from then on until like August 6th. And like, my dad took that whole week off.
You didn't talk to your parents from then on?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because like Shanann was like, do not talk to them, do not call them, do not do anything.
Is that what she said?
Yeah. And Cece's birthday was the 17th, but I think the actual birthday party was like a couple days after.
In August?
July.
July?
Yeah. And like my mom or my dad was going to go, but then there was like a post on Facebook about, allergies and stuff like that Shanann had made, and my dad was like, no, I just can't do it anymore. Just like, because
He perceived that as her taking a shot type thing?
yeah.
Okay.
She always says she never,
And since this is the second time kind of going through this case, and a lot of our research was over on CDT's channel. So if you guys check out our past live streams, we've gone through a lot. But just like thinking about the little family drama going on, knowing this case a lot, I think, in my personal opinion, and again, this is just about the petty drama that is still a part of the case. I think that even if there was some sort of tiff or whatever with the allergy and Cece, and there was a scare, Shanann got mad, I still think that Ronnie and Cindy and them should have gone to Cece's birthday party. That's just my opinion. Those are just my feelings about that aspect and the drama. But I think that it was wrong for them not to go to Cece's birthday party just because of something that took place that was just, and it's sad that like you don't know what's going to happen. That's the thing, is that's why you forgive people in your family and you move past it and you accept them. Hi, Pink Dahlia. I don't know. I just, and I wonder, and I'm sure that Cindy and Ronnie have regrets, and Jamie and them, like they weren't at her last birthday, and that's terrible.
put those posts directed at anybody, but she had a method.
If you read them, you know who she's talking about.
She had a method to the madness, and you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish I could have just took more time just to fix that. Because I wanted my parents to be involved. Like since like the whole wedding thing, and then up to that, it was like my mom, my sister.
Yes, tumbleweed weed. We CDT and I used to study this case with somebody who, and that's the thing, is like other cases, there's going to be drama and all that on YouTube and Facebook groups. It just kind of comes with the territory. Anyways, we parted ways from this particular researcher, I'll call her, but she was friends with Cindy Watts. Like they became friends while we all knew each other. And we had a conference call with Cindy, and it was a group of girls who were studying the case, and we talked to her about certain things. And there was conversation of her saying that she regretted the way, things kind of took place with Shanann and ended with Shanann, and she cried. And I believe those tears were genuine for sure.
Sister always combating with Shanann combating with them. My dad was always cool. Like, he's just like me. He's just like, go with the flow. Like, I just want everybody to get along type deal.
Chicks, man.
I loved your dad.
Oh, he's the best.
Isn't he? I
So,
loved your dad.
I'm sorry, keep going.
That's cool. I just wish I could have, just when we were at the beach in August, my dad was supposed to take the whole week off just so we could see the kids and see me and we have a cookout at my sister's house or something. And then, but we just pretty much spent 5 days at the beach, and Shanann had booked it. So I don't want to say punishment for them not to see the kids, but I wanted them to see it, see them. I wish I could have fixed all that. And I even when I was at the beach, I told Shanann that it was more what was going on was more of I feel cause my dad's my hero. I feel like I've lost something in my life. I haven't talked to him for 3 weeks. I haven't been to see the kids for 3 weeks, on FaceTime or anything. And I want.
Tony, I agree. I definitely think the affair was going on a lot longer than they claim. There was something else I wanted to say. Oh, just him right now kind of talking about I didn't get to talk to my dad and this and that. it sounds to me like he is still holding on to resentment towards Shanann. Like, even though, like, dude, you're sitting in prison right now because of your actions. You screwed up. You know, took her life, and you're lying. He's still to this day lying. And he's over here, and you can hear it in his tone that, like, he really is still, like, mad about her, like, telling him not to talk to his family. Like, whether or not, whatever, if that's right or wrong, but, like, with everything going on, you would think that, like, he would just say, like, yeah, it was just some BS drama that didn't matter. But now he's literally going on and on about it, like it happened yesterday and Shanann's just in the other room and all this didn't take place, like complaining about her. It's just really frustrating the way, I just really feel like he mentally and like emotionally and like in his heart, he stopped loving Shanann so much longer before this affair that they claim started at the beginning of summer. Like, just listen to his like resentment. Like, this was going on for so long. And the fact that NK brings up the allergy and the Nutgate scenario makes me think that she, and this is my opinion, she used it as fuel with Chris to turn on NK or on Shanann, in my opinion. Like, how dare she keep you from your family? She's terrible. You know what I mean? Like, she knew about that allergy situation, you know?
Wanted them to be able to have that relationship. And she was pretty much gung ho, like she tried to kill my daughter by giving her pink. I was like, I don't think she gave it to her.
I know. Was that her stance? Is that your mom
put something in front of Cece?
Like to kill her, or
no, just like
didn't care,
like
didn't pay attention.
She thinks that allergies and like this state of age is like people think, oh, you're
like it's
fine.
made up
Like
kind of thing.
he'll be fine. He'll just have a rash. He'll be fine. I've seen CC, you know, like the first time. Well, I've seen a picture of when he had a cashew the first time. It wasn't good. And then she had kiwi the second time, and then the same thing happened. And I know it's real.
So you know it's serious, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like it wasn't like her throat like closed up, but she broke.
And I can understand Shanann being annoyed with Cindy because of this situation, you know? And yet we have Chris over here, like, he halfway is trying to say that the allergy is serious, but at the same time, he's still kind of backing, like, he doesn't have Shanann's back on it. It's just absolutely infuriating. The callousness and coldness coming from Chris talking about Shanann and all this. And it goes way beyond, well, yeah, you know, he killed her. He was cheating on her. Like, I think this is like deep embedded in him. Had been going for a long time where he was just disconnected from her. Exactly. The Pink Dahlia said it's like he was never her husband. Exactly. And Lauren, I agree in laughing with them about Shanann's Italian temper. I don't know, just eerie to me. Yeah, and Coder's trying to, you know, relate to him like on guy to guy level, like, oh, you know, she had that temper too, like, you know, Sandy, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, God, yes. It's just like, I don't know. And then again, this is also debatable. Part one, we kind of heard him kind of talk about the girls, the children, and he kind of got a little bit of like crackle in his voice. You know, take it for what you will, but he doesn't have that crackle talking about Shanann, you know? It's like he really no love at all there for her. I just don't know. Florida said, Amber, in my opinion, I really feel Chris fell out of love in the summer. Affairs do that to you. Yeah, I think that things escalated as far as, I think he might have even gone through some sort of like identity crisis. Remember at one point he's like, says something about, am I even a dad anymore? Or something like that. It's like, oh, because he was spending so much time at NK's house. He lost touch of who he was or some crap he was trying to say. But I think that somebody weak-minded like him, that's very possible. Yes, Jen, I agree.
Broke out in this full body rash. It looked really crazy looking, and luckily, like, nothing with her throat like happened. But
So did that make you angry at your mom for doing that?
yeah, I mean, I just like, Mom, you just gotta. I told her you need to think. You need to, like, pay attention. Just because another kid can have something doesn't mean another kid can have something. Because like we were at that birthday party at Jeremy's that Sunday, they had this cake there. Like Bella wanted it so bad. I'm like, can't you answer it? Because she can't have it. She was like, okay. And all the other kids were like, they can't have the cake. Like, I just kind of took them off and gave them some like one of those frozen pops or something. But it's just like she had to learn that just because one kid can have something, and there's another kid that can't have it for a legitimate reason. Like, she couldn't have done it. But that's the kind of talk I had with her when Shannon called me. I think it was maybe like middle of July or something when she told me all this had happened. Mm-hmm. That's when I called my mom and talked to them for a while, and then they're just like, they just couldn't deal with her anymore. Shannon just kind of like, they like flipped out. And my nephew told Bella to go hide behind the curtain because I don't think your mom was going to let you come over here again or something like that.
Aww.
So it got heated. Oh, it was bad.
Really?
Yeah, it was like a last straw between them, I think.
Like in the same room or over the phone?
No, they were at
They were
my
really
mom's
heated.
house.
I just feel like Chris is overplaying this like event, putting so much weight on, and maybe it's because the parents was like, we're not going to come to the party because of that. It's just so unfortunate. It's just so like messed up. Like, it's severe enough for them to not go to Cece's party and see the grandchildren again. And I just hope everyone can just take a lesson in this case and on so many levels. And one of the levels is you only have one family, and these children in the families, they suffer. And here we're hearing him talk about my nephew ran over to Bella and told her to hide because they weren't going to be allowed to come over anymore. It's just like so sad. Like the children, I just hope that people realize how short life is, and if something happens that's annoying with your in-laws or this or that, like, I don't mean to go on and preach to you guys, but it should not have been a big a deal as it ended up being. And, he's still talking about it in this prison interview as if it was like World War III and it was justified for his parents to be like, I'm done. We can't deal with her anymore. And it's like he's like kind of justifying like, yeah, and I think that that's sort of what they wanted this conversation to seem like, that Shanann and him were just done and he couldn't deal with the lifestyle anymore because his parents didn't like her either. And it was just all these things at once. And that is sort of the problem with this interview, is like when you hear it the first time, you're like, wow, I think that he killed her because the parents didn't like her either. I mean, she seemed like she was a B word, but then, I mean, people have said that even after watching the Netflix movie. So why is that the narrative that they seem to want to push, that Shanann was a B word and Chris was a weak man who snapped and he's a narcissist and did all this? It's like that sounds like a good story in a way for Netflix and for Lifetime and, for people to read in the discovery pages and listen to here. But there's so much more to this story than just, she just was too much. He didn't like being on camera. You could tell, like, that's not what this is. There is way more to this going on. And this is only the surface. And the surface that this is a lie. So we've been given this like base of a case based on lies, built on lies. And it's really only an inch of the surface. And the whole case actually goes down hundreds and hundreds of feet.
Yeah. But Cece and Bella and my niece and nephew were there.
Okay.
How did Shanann find out about the ice cream thing?
Because Chanel was there, and I guess they were all sitting one of those couches, kind of like a U. And my niece went into the kitchen, and she knew where the ice cream was. She'd been there.
So it's not like your mom gave it to her? Like she got her own ice cream?
Yeah, she went in the freezer, got it, went out, and sat beside Cece and started eating.
Exactly, Mar R said, no excuse. If she is dead because of being a bee, then I'd be dead too. There is a whole other reason. I agree. There's way more, but yet they want to keep us thinking that it was just this and that he wanted a new life. And like, that's not what it is, because he even says, would I have even known that I was unhappy if I hadn't met NK? You know, because like he knew that she was headstrong. His mother is headstrong. Sandy was headstrong. He was fine with, you know, even NK was headstrong. He seemed to have been fine with that aspect. So it had nothing to do with her being a B word, in my opinion. But for some reason, it seems like they want us to think that, you know, he just couldn't deal with her anymore and wanted a new life. And it's like, that's not what it was. It's something deeper. Yeah, it's, I think, money somehow in relation to an explosion plan. That's just my opinion. It just goes back to that for me.
But like, it's just a matter of like, Cece could go like,
Right.
like that. I don't know what would happen if she just got it on her hand.
Right.
But like, I know on like the prick test, you know, on the back, it's like a welt.
So were they staying there at your parents' house during that time?
Yeah, it was. So they would go from from Sandy and Frank's house for like a few days or 5 days, and then go to my mom and dad's house for a couple of days and bounce back and forth.
Okay. So it happened during that time you were there, yeah. Okay.
And so there were so many things that happened, weren't there? They just were little tiny ingredients to this recipe.
Yeah, nothing like.
It's nuts, Chris. I mean, it's just so many things just didn't go your way.
Everything was like somebody was stirring a pot, and it would just.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was like. So then, I know I keep bringing it up. Can you walk me through just the last few minutes before Shanann died?
It was pretty much just like I had gotten dressed for work, and then like we started talking.
Did she come to you?
No, I was just right there in bed.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was just like, I got my blue shirt on, my jeans and everything.
You ready to go?
I was ready to go. And
Was she asleep, or did you have to wake her up to finish your conversation? Or?
I would wake her up because like she.
For some reason, I feel like he said my blue shirt, and Troy McCoy says something about him wearing a blue shirt, but in the footage for Nate, it seems like he's wearing black. So I always assumed he started with the black shirt, switched to a blue shirt before Troy saw him. And then when he gets home from work and the cops are there with NA, he's in a gray shirt. So hold on. I just want to hear that again, because it seemed like he was saying, I got my blue shirt. But in the footage, it's a black shirt. I'm just really confused. Hang on. And that's the thing too, guys, is this audio, with the way that we've been able to enhance it. You know, I'm picking up things that I never really could hear before. So I'm just trying to paint this whole scene in my head. So give me a second and rewind a little bit, and you guys let me know what you hear as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was like. So then, I know I keep bringing it up. Can you walk me through just the last few minutes before Shanann died?
It was pretty much just like I had gotten dressed for work, and then like we started talking.
Did she come to you?
No, I was just right there in bed.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was just like, I got my blue shirt on, my jeans and everything.
You ready to go?
I was ready to go.
Yeah, he said blue. And yeah, Tony, I agree. Maybe it is navy blue on Nate's and it just looks so dark. I want to say, and again, once we get there, we'll probably get there first on CDT's channel because she's going through the camera footage and all that. When we listen to Troy again, I want to say he describes the color blue, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. So we'll just kind of make a mental note of this to find out. Because I mean, even though it might be irrelevant, I like to know, like, okay, so he was in black, then he did switch to blue, then he did go to gray. I just want to know, you know? So yeah, this audio I'm hearing, and Nikki heard it too. I got my blue shirt on.
Was she asleep, or did you have to wake her up to finish your conversation? Or?
I wake her up because like she got home like 2:00, so she pretty much out of it. But I never knew if her plane got delayed. Someone always told me. Like,
Did he say I didn't wake her up? I didn't wake her up. Thanks for becoming a member. Support with Steffa. Because a second ago, I swear he said they talked, and then she said, "Did you wake her up?" And he said, "I didn't wake her up." Hold on.
Finish your conversation? Or?
I wake her up because like
Yeah, that's exactly what it was like. So then, I know I keep bringing it up. Can you walk me through just the last few minutes before Shenandoah?
it was pretty much just like I had gotten dressed for work, and then like we started talking.
Did she come to you?
No, I was just right there in bed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was just like I got my blue shirt on, my jeans and everything.
You ready to go?
I was ready to go. And
Was she asleep, or did you have to wake her up to finish your conversation?
Okay. He said they started talking. He said, I got my blue shirt on, my jeans, and then he said boots. Isn't there a video going around by Zav Girl saying that he wore sneakers in some of that Nate footage? And she's zooming in and she says Chris is in white sneakers and then switches to the boots. Here we have Chris saying boots. So if there is somebody looking at Nate's footage thinking someone's wearing white sneakers, according to Chris here, he got his boots on. And socks. What does that mean, Kelly? White socks and white sneakers? And again, Chris is a liar, but you know, what would be the point in lying? I saw a pic with the white sneakers and other with boots. Yeah, there was. Yep, Valerie, you're right. Zav Girl was comparing them and came to the conclusion in her theory that he switched sneakers. Hold on, I'm going to rewind that because I want to hear it. And now I can finally hear what he's listing off there. But yeah, to the other thing we were asking about, he does say they started talking. And then here we have Tammy butting in. Was she asleep? So hold on. Now we'll listen to the boots comment and no, had white sneakers on. Yeah, there is something going around about him wearing white sneakers. And then there's another one going around saying he's in boots. So here, let's just hear that again. And he did say we started talking and then Tammy's going to ask, was she asleep? And I swear he says, no, I didn't wake her. But you just said a second ago that you guys were up talking.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was like. So then, I know I keep bringing it up. Can you walk me through just the last few minutes before Shenandoah?
it was pretty much just like I had gotten dressed for work, and then like we started talking.
Did she come to you?
No, I was just right there in bed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was just like, I got my blue shirt on, my jeans and everything.
You ready to go?
I was ready to go. And
Was she asleep, or did you have to wake her up to finish your conversation?
I
Or?
wake her up because like she got home like 2 o'clock, so she pretty much out of it. But I never knew like if her plane got delayed.
I didn't wake her up. Her plane got delayed, or she got home at 2. Sorry, I'm like misquoting him, but pretty much said I didn't wake her up after he just said that he had gotten up and they were talking. Continued talking. And then he says she was out of it. And then he switches to not knowing, it changes the subject, not knowing if her plane actually really did get delayed or not. And they say, yeah, it did. But why is he worried about that right now? We're talking about, I think he knew that he effed up right here. First says that they were talking, then is asked if she got up or was awake, and he said, nah, I didn't wake her up. And then changes the subject swiftly to, but I never knew if her plane got delayed. Distraction, Pink Dahlia says. Tammy's ego is interrupting the narrative. Just let him talk. But on the same sense, she interrupts and says, was she awake? And he says, nah, I didn't wake her up. He just like stumbled because he just told Coder that they were talking. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, John. It's like Tammy has an interest in making the story her way. 100%. Because she's trying to cover up her mistakes. She never lets him talk. It's very, very evident, especially at this point, that Chris is a pushover. He's easy to kind of, sway to conform to what you want. He's a people pleaser. People pleasers actually was on this whole thing I was reading about why false confessions actually happen. And it pretty much said, like, yeah, people pleaser personalities are more prone to be, lumped into the small percentage of false confessions that end up taking place. It's just it makes sense, So now we have him kind of fumbling over if she was awake, pretty much awake. We don't know if she was awake or not when he's leaving for work, because it just seemed like he's kind of fumbling there. Do you guys agree? Like, as far as answering the question of was she awake and talking when you left for work, it seems like Chris can't give us a clear answer. Starts off as yes, then it was no, she got home late, she was kind of out of it, and then he changes the subject to the flight. Agree, you are my sunshine.
It was a light. Yeah. It was a light. Yeah.
Cece and start eating. But like it's just a matter of like Cece could go like like that.
Sorry,
I don't know what would happen if she just got it on her hand.
It's really hard to get it.
The prick test.
Perfect minute
on the back.
But
It's like a welt.
thank you all for being here.
So were they staying there at your parents' house during that time?
Yeah, it was. So they would go from from Sandy and Frank's house for like.
And that's Baumhover talking at that moment. But yeah, it's just
With somebody and usually.
jeepers. Sorry, guys.
It was a light. Yeah.
But
Oh, wow. Just listen to how quick, just stumbling right there when he says it was delayed. They're letting him know the flight was delayed. When we get there, once I get the minute mark right, listen to how quick Chris kind of, I feel like he'd been wanting to know if that plane really was delayed for like weeks. That seemed to have been a big event, I think, with whoever is involved with this and him. When Shanann's flight was delayed, I 100% think other people maybe thought Chris was lying or maybe got stressed out because of it interrupting their plans that night. She got home much later than they thought. And of course, that's just my opinion and speculation, but it's interesting listening to Chris talk about just listen, when he finds out, he took the very small moment to ask if that plane really was delayed or not. And then as soon as he finds out the real truth, moves right on. But and I bet you that was something that was lingering in his mind.
It was delayed.
Cece and start eating. But like it's just a matter of like Cece could go like like that. I don't know what would happen if she just got it on her hand.
Right.
But like I know on like the prick test, on the back, it's like a welt.
So were they staying there at your parents' house during that time?
Yeah, it was. So they would go from from Sandy and Frank's house for like a few days or 5 days, and then go to my mom and dad's house for a couple of days and kind of back and forth.
Okay. So it happened during that time. You were there, yeah. Okay.
And so there were so many things that happened, weren't there? They just were little tiny ingredients to this recipe.
Yeah, nothing like.
It's nuts, Chris. I mean, it's just so many things just didn't go your way.
Everything was like somebody was stirring a pot, and it was just.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was like. So then, I know I keep bringing it up. Can you walk me through just the last few minutes before Shenandoah?
It was pretty much just like I had gotten dressed for work, and then like we started talking.
Did she come to you?
No, I was just right there in bed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was just like I got my blue shirt on, my jeans and everything.
You ready to go?
I was ready to go. And
Was she asleep, or did you have to wake her up to finish your conversation? Or?
I wake her up because like she got home like 2:00, so she pretty much out of it. But I never knew like if her plane got delayed. Someone always told me like she just like sat around with Nicole and just like talked for a while and then came home or something. I'm not sure if that was
it was delayed. Yeah.
But when she came home and everything, but yeah, like I woke her up to talk to her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And is that because it was just eating at your brain?
Yeah, like I knew like something like something doesn't feel right with me. So I know like she knew.
So after saying they talked, then no, I didn't wake her up. She was out of it. And then just now he said he talked to her. So this is just all over the place, pretty much. I don't know if they really even talked. After he finds out that the plane really was delayed, then all of a sudden he says they talked. I don't know.
I just knew she knew. I just felt like maybe the kids weren't going to be there when I got home that day.
Oh, interesting. Now, I don't mean to offend, but I have to ask, is that really the truth? Okay.
I really felt like they weren't going to be there when I got home that day.
Oh. And
Like she would take them somewhere?
No, I just felt like either maybe I wouldn't go home, maybe they weren't going to be there, or I wouldn't be allowed in, type thing.
I think I saw some text messages where Shania talked about that she would take the kids to another state or something because she wouldn't be able to afford to live in Colorado or something like that. Did she say that kind of stuff to you, or what did she say about that?
She said she couldn't afford to live in Colorado on her own, and that I told her like, well, drive. I mean, she pretty much makes the same amount I do.
Yeah.
But
I feel like he's got his like BSing voice on right now. Doesn't it just seem like it went from, I don't know, just all of a sudden, like, he's like, let me gather my thoughts. Yeah, I feel like, okay, people in chat are saying, what the hell? What? I was thinking the kids might not be there that day. He doesn't know what the heck happened that night. All of a sudden, this whole thing just went from a flowing conversation, even though we were questioning what was going on in it. He bounced around, wanted to know if the flight really was delayed, found out it was, then says, but yeah, we talked. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just seeming like, yeah, exactly. CDT. He seems like he's stumbling here. Thank you for being here, Texas girl. Tammy's saying that she was gonna keep the kids from you. All of a sudden, he's agreeing with what Tammy's narrative too is, you know what I mean? Because he doesn't wanna answer this whole, "Was she awake? What happened before you went to work?" thing. So now whatever Tammy's saying, he's like, "Yeah, yeah." Like, just listen as Tammy's talking and he's, like, kinda going along with her, like, I just know it's not the truth. He's making it up that he didn't think that she would let him in the house. Like, I'm sorry, but even if she had just bought that book for them to work on things, I just don't think that this is the truth, obviously. And he's just agreeing with Tammy, and it's sounding good on camera or on audio.
It was like, yeah. But yeah, when she came home and everything, but yeah, like I woke her up to talk to her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And is that because it was just eating at your brain?
Yeah, like I knew like
He just said he woke her up after just saying to Tammy, "No." I'm just like, I can't believe, like, we just caught him in like so many like contradictions, like in the last minute here. And it all has to do with, was Shanann awake when you went to work?
something like something doesn't feel right with me. So I know like she knew. I just knew she knew. I just felt like maybe the kids weren't going to be there when I got home that day.
Oh, interesting. Now, I don't mean to offend, but I have to ask, is that really the truth?
Okay. I really felt like they weren't going to be there when I got home that day.
Oh.
Like she would take them somewhere?
No, I just
Like, why does she even have to butt in and say, like, she would take them somewhere? Like, that could have meant more than one thing. I didn't think that the kids were going to be there that day, and here we have Coder. Oh, interesting. He wants him to elaborate, like we want him to elaborate. Like, what do you mean by that? But then we have Tammy suggesting what he means by it. And then he gives them more time to kind of think about where he's going with something, and it's like, no, what were you going to say before she said that? And then you started running with the story too. Same thing with the first interview with the polygraph. She suggests something. He's looking for an escape because he doesn't want to tell the truth. He runs with what she's saying and then some.
just felt like either maybe I wouldn't go home, maybe they weren't going to be there, or I wouldn't be allowed in, type thing.
I think I saw some text messages where Shanann talked about that she would take the kids to another state or something because she wouldn't be able to afford to live in Colorado or something like that. Did she say that kind of stuff to you, or
Yeah.
what did she say about that?
She said she couldn't afford to live in Colorado on her own, and that I told her, like, well, drive. I mean, she pretty much makes the same amount I do.
Yeah.
She said she wouldn't want to try, just because Colorado just the price of living there was a lot higher than North Carolina.
And you know what also is unfortunate? He was talking and she says, talking about how she, obviously they know details about their conversations and texts and the divorce lawyer and this and that. So she's using the circumstantial evidence around the case to her advantage here. And she's bringing up how Shanann had mentioned to him, which this was true, but we don't know Shanann's side of it. We don't know why she was telling Chris that one day that she wouldn't be able to afford it on her own. You know what I mean? That wasn't what a recent Tammy's using that to her advantage to kind of direct the conversation here to make it seem like they were having troubles in their marriage and this and that, when in my opinion it just CDT said, I have the link to call in, but I'm loving listening to Amber. No, I need your help because I don't know if I'm making sense. No. But it's just unfortunate that Tammy is using the circumstantial drama evidence in this case right now to kind of steer the conversation. Um, it's just sad because just let him talk. If he's going to stumble and lie and fumble on things, just let it happen.
And just so I'm clear, you thought maybe in your mind, you thought maybe she would take the kids somewhere else or like lock you out of the house
or just like, I wouldn't want to make a scene, like, trying like pound on the door, trying to get in or anything like that. But, like, I just felt like, that was what I did on Sunday. It was kind of like, or Saturday night was kind of like the last straw. Kind of like going out with somebody and using an actual bank account card and just like not trying to hide it at all.
So walk me through it though, because she comes home, she touches you, you guys have sex, you fall asleep, then you wake up for work, all natural, all, a normal day's work type thing.
Yeah.
What was it that made you think, I just can't do this anymore, I have to talk to her?
It was eating away at me. Like, I knew like something, I knew everything that I did. Like, I know like when I was with Nikki, it was, different. Like, I wasn't even like in the realm of, I'm a dad, I'm a husband type thing.
Oh.
And then like I was saying, when I'm never at home, like sleeping in my own.
He can't even say the word husband. He said, I'm a dad, and then he's just kind of like husband type thing. Like, you can't even, that's what I mean is like, he's detached so much more so from Shanann than the kids, in my opinion. Just even in the way he says things, it's just like so much disdain in his voice for Shanann. And I just don't think the children were a part of the plan. I think that they witnessed something that they shouldn't have. And obviously they're smart and intelligent. Something occurred. It's too much to get into right now, but I just feel like even more listening to this, he had the plans to leave Shanann and kill Shanann. And he conspired that plan with other people. The children, I just feel, were a casualty in all this. A lot more of my thoughts on that are on CDT's channel. But I just feel like I just hear more and more in his voice and stuff. Like, he can't even say the word husband.
And like, I have no like concept of that anymore.
Interesting.
Seeing my kids in bed, seeing everything that that we built for the last 6 years.
And so, did you just want to once and for all get it out in the open?
I just wanted to just tell her how I was feeling at that point in time. Like, I didn't feel like me and her were compatible anymore. Honestly, I didn't feel like that because what was going on with Nikki, it was new. It was new.
Right, absolutely.
Anything that's new always feels better than the old.
Yes.
you were probably bitten by the love bug.
Yeah,
That's how a lot of therapists talk about it. Yeah.
It was just like, I never.
And how annoying. He's over here kind of talking about NK and like stuff we want to hear. And Tammy, you were just like, bitten by the love bug. Like, she's telling him and us what it was. So as much as I do know that this, the sex and the affair and the excitement, all that was probably, like really, put him over the edge of, I'm done with Shanann. I don't care about if she lives or dies. Obviously all that was aiding in, I don't know where his head's at here, but Tammy's like in here telling us like that pretty much by saying you were just bit by the love bug. She's pretty much saying and wants everyone listening to know that's why this happened because you just wanted that life with NK. But she's not saying it in those words, but people listen to it and think, wow, what a pig. He thought this affair and the excitement and he was just going to move on with his life. I don't think that that's what it was. I think that there was way more to this plan and everything that they're keeping secret. And here we have Tammy pushing the narrative of like, you wanted to be with your young hot girlfriend, you were bit with the love bug. And that's my opinion, but these are my thoughts re-listening to this after years of studying the case.
Never felt that. I mean, even like with new relationships in the past, like it always felt different. Like the first couple weeks, and then but it just with someone Nikki felt different. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just like you said, like I was more in control, and like it was more of like maybe more of me coming out. Krishnan always said like it always seemed I was more myself around other people, like her cousin Cody, like Cody lived or came up and visited us for a little bit while we were in Colorado for a little while, and Cody always talked about like how Chris is so funny, Chris is like, Shannon would always just like, why are you him like that with me? I'm just like, maybe I always felt nervous around you.
There's only so much oxygen in the room, right? I say this to some people when dominant personalities,
I just always felt nervous. I always felt like I was, I never could actually just, be myself.
Right.
Nikki, I was myself like all the time. It was just different.
Well, and it seems as though, and again, hard to talk about, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but it also seems, is it accurate to say that sexually you were able to say, Nikki, this is what I would like, this is what I'm into, or blah, 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 and maybe not with Shanann?
No, Nikki just wanted, she wanted what she wanted. She wanted to do it pretty much all the time. I was just like, okay, that's fine with me.
Okay.
With Shanann, it was just like, hey.
And just to remind everybody, we have evidence through text messages with her girlfriends and all that. Before summer, started and she went to North Carolina, her and Chris were still very sexually active. And, she would have no reason to think that going away for 6 weeks was going to be the bad move to make for their marriage, in my opinion. She was stable in things like that, in my opinion, just from what we know. And then we have the proof that, he'd been rejecting her, this and that. And then we have proof that her and Chris had a really good conversation before she went to Arizona, and she thanked him for letting her hold him. And in my opinion, I think that they were intimate, and, Shanann had thought that things were going to get better. The other thing too is, I believe in the polygraph interview, they kind of touched on their sex life, Tammy and him, and how often they had sex. And it seemed like it was sort of like, you get busy and this and that, but it was a healthy sexual relationship according to that interview as well. So I don't know why all of a sudden here he's talking to Coder and he's saying, like that he had to like beg for it. I don't know why he's like changed his tone when we know through the text messages and, stuff surrounding this interview seems more like everything was healthy and fine. She went away, she gets rejected. And then it seemed like they made up before she went to Arizona. And then everything went downhill.
Sometimes it happens, sometimes it didn't. But that wasn't the case as far as that way. It wasn't just like sex or whatnot. But it was me. I was just want myself. I could just not think about what I was going to say.
And see, he kind of says right there, like it wasn't really like the sex. Like he is kind of saying, like that wasn't why things fell apart. So he's almost kind of admitting, like what I was just saying is like that wasn't anything that was unhealthy in the relationship, So it's just crazy.
Or plan what I was going to say, or not, say something stupid or something.
Right.
A little bit of freedom.
Can I ask you something about that morning that you had sex with Shanann? Did you feel at all like maybe you were kind of cheating on Nikki by doing that?
I felt strange. I felt like, the first time I was with Nikki, I felt weird. first time, like,
Sure.
and then the last time I was with Shanann, I felt totally strange. I was like, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I had become.
I don't know why, but just re-listening to this when he says the first time he was with Nikki, he felt weird. I don't know. That just seems, I mean, I guess I get it, but just knowing that she was the aggressor, like she pursued him. We've heard that, that came out of her own mouth in her FBI interview. So she's pursuing him. Chris is saying she wanted to do it all the time, his words. And he's saying here he felt weird after their first time. I just feel like weird is like such a weird jeez. Weird is a strange word for a man to use after a sexual encounter, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know if Florida Bass is still here. I don't know. It just seems like I don't know what I'm picturing. I guess I just really can't stand NK. And obviously I don't like Chris either. Debbie said guilt, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Is he trying to say he actually felt some guilt? I don't know. Yeah, it just seems as like maybe him saying weird is him saying guilt, but he can't say it because he's Chris and he's strange himself. Amanda makes it seem like she was dirty or not very good, lol. Okay, Pink Dahlia is agreeing. Same, Amber. It just seems like if he was the pig and all that, and I don't know, I just think him using the word weird is different. Florida Bass said, but I'm telling you, there's no way 12 jurors would ever have been convicted or that he killed anyone. There's no proof, no DNA, no evidence. Yeah. Florida said he knew she was going to die that Sunday night. I think he was an accomplice to the murder, but I think his accomplices ambushed and killed Shanann. The girls weren't supposed to die, but their plan failed. Yeah.
Felt like I've become people I see on TV, and that did not feel right with me. Like I didn't know what had happened to me. So Nikki even asked me, like, have you done this before? Have you go straight away? I'm like, I've never even thought about it. It's like, what's different? It's like, I guess it's just you that's different, because I've just never actually, like, I've seen girls smile at me before, never done anything about it. With her, it was just like, it's like she had a leash on me and she tugged me away. As soon as she walked, I'm like, heck, what the hell is going on? So.
Well, and Tammy brings up a very good point. I wonder if that last time with Shanann having sex had somewhat of a role in you thinking,
like a trigger?
I gotta do something, I gotta say something, we gotta have a talk, something's gotta change. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I felt like it was like maybe like a trigger point or something, like you hit the push button on a bomb and it just blows up.
Right.
Just something in my head was just like something was irking. Just like I had to say something.
Okay. So then exactly what did you say and what happened?
So when I woke her up and it's like, hey, we just gotta talk.
Okay.
And I told her, I don't feel compatible. I don't feel like this is gonna work. I just, I don't wanna, like, can we cancel the trip to Aspen? And she had booked a trip that week to go to some like mystery 4-star luxury hotel or something.
Just the two of you or the whole family?
Just me and her.
Okay.
And she had Amanda there because they watched the kids that weekend or something.
Okay.
And I was just like, can we cancel that? Can we like do something? Like, from what I remember, I even said, can we move to Brighton just to get away from like this house?
Oh.
But like, I'm not sure if that was like in the beginning or the end of part of the conversation or whatnot. That conversation went so many different ways. Like they had gone from like staying together to not staying together.
Sorry, guys. I want to pause it here because I feel like this is a good little part. CDT just joined, and I'm moving locations, so you might hear me kind of scrambling around to get set up. I moved upstairs. Let me bring CDT on. Hi.
Hello.
What's up? Thanks for joining.
Not, yeah, of course. I've been really enjoying listening to your breakdown of it all so far. It's really been good, and you've noticed a lot of interesting things for sure.
Thanks. I'm glad you're listening too. Like, it's just I just like going through this case with you. So
Yeah.
even if you're not like if you're just in chat, I feel like okay, my brain is being heard at least through, with you in chat. But so far in this little segment, let me shut the door. Hang on. Well, anything you want to say?
I thought so. The blue shirt earlier was interesting. I definitely want to go back to what Troy said about what he was wearing and look at the body cam and stuff.
Yeah. And of course, Nate's footage,
Yeah.
not the best, but it just looks so dark, like the shirt, and it could be navy blue. Him saying that he grabbed his boots, and another thing. Him saying that Shanann and him were talking, and then Tammy asks if she was awake, and he says, no, I didn't wake her. And then he goes back to talking after finding about the flight and saying that he did wake her up.
Yes.
So all throughout that, the only conclusion I can make is he doesn't want to tell us if she was awake or not before he went to work. Like, we don't know. We still, through all that, he went from two different answers, and within like 2 minutes, not even. So he's hiding that aspect. Was she awake? Was she not? This part here, though, I think is like something to listen to also. So let me just go back a minute. But anything else you wanted to say? Hi, Demon Child.
No, not right now. I'm excited to keep listening. But hey to everybody in chat, and yeah, let's see what else.
And Demon Child said, I wonder what Chris is doing right now.
Oh my gosh. What time is it in Wisconsin, I wonder?
Yeah, I wonder too. Either way, I'm sure he's not up to much.
Yeah.
Mystery 4-star luxury hotel or something.
Just the two of you or the whole family?
Just me and her.
Okay.
And she had a man affair and watched the kids that weekend or something.
Okay.
And I was just like, can we cancel that? Can we like do something? Like, from what I remember, I even said, can we move to Brighton just to get away from like this house?
Interesting. I mean, it could be nothing, but he wants to get away from the house. And we know that NK obviously knew where the house was. She Googled his address the Saturday before the murders. So him just saying that he wanted to get away from the house, that's kind of strange to say, I guess. I mean, maybe it's not, but I don't know. I always took it as maybe get away from like paying for such a big house, but now I'm like taking it so literal because that's how Chris is. And like, it's like he doesn't want her there at the house. And say it was some sort of setup ambush and Chris knew about it, I don't know. It just is sounding different to me this time around.
Yeah. No, I've always thought that was just kind of interesting the way he says it and his tone too. Like, get away from this house. Like, was he nervous?
Yes.
Obviously, because like you said, she knows where the house is.
Yeah. And other people could know where the house is.
Because
And
why was she Googling the address when she was hosting the friend, allegedly. Jim was possibly there, possibly, if you believe he came into town earlier. And she Googles his address and Ronnie Watts. That's weird.
Right. And we know just how Chris is. He says and does things that are very literal. So him saying, I think I remember even saying, can we move to Brighton, just to get away from the house? It's like, I don't know. It's like something in him was like wanting to save her possibly. Even though I think he was done on so many levels, it just is interesting the way he's saying that. Like you said, just saying, I don't know. Let me just re-listen.
And just like, hey, we just gotta talk. And I told her, I don't feel compatible. I don't feel like this is gonna work. I just, I don't want to. Can we cancel the trip to Aspen? And she had booked a trip that week to go to some mystery 4-star luxury hotel or something.
Just the two of you or the whole family?
Just me and her.
Okay.
And she had Amanda there and watched the kids that weekend or something.
Okay.
And I was just like, can we cancel that? Can we do something? From what I remember, I even said, can we move to Brighton just to get away from this house?
Oh.
But I'm not sure if that was in the beginning or the end of part of the conversation or whatnot. That conversation went so many different ways. They had gone from staying together to not staying together to just all the above.
Okay. So this is half an hour, or what?
Definitely.
How can the conversation go from staying together and then not staying together and then all of the above? It's like, you don't want to tell us more, do you?
Right. I really cannot decide if I think Chris and Shanann had any type of conversation. And I just can't decide if I think that they were alone in the house to have that conversation. I go back and forth so much, but I agree. Can't remember beginning when he told her about the house, the beginning or end went so many different ways.
Right.
And then
Right.
Coder's wanting a time frame.
Yeah. I do not. The more I'm listening to this and him fumbling through if she was awake or not and talking, and I'm almost thinking that she was not able to talk when he left. I don't know what state she was in, but Florida says no conversation. She was ambushed in the basement when she went to look for him. I don't know. That's the thing.
I could
is
see that for sure.
I definitely, could see that happening. We've talked about what possibly could have happened, and I would lean towards more of that than listening to Chris say that they had some emotional conversation. I do not think that emotional conversation took place. As far as her being asleep or not when he left, I don't know, It's like, was she asleep and then ambushed? Or did she go downstairs and then ambushed? It's just I just keep kind of going back to people being in the house. But I don't know if Chris aided before going out to load his truck or if it took place while he was outside loading the truck.
That's kind of where I am. I do feel people were in the basement other than Chris. And I feel like in this interview, I don't think we've gotten there yet, but where they talk about the basement and all the movement, I do think something happened in the basement. I just can't decide what time frame I think. If I think she made it upstairs for at least a little while and then was called down or came down, or if she was ambushed, like Florida says, the timeline of it all, I don't know where I'm at with that.
Right.
And yeah, I can't decide what I think all Shanann witnessed either.
Right. Derek said she wanted to make up with him when she got home. I believe he did have sex and had her in a vulnerable position, in my opinion. That very well could be. I mean, she was still wearing her bra. But I mean, that doesn't really mean anything, even though Tammy kind of hangs on that aspect.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the thing, is like we just go round and round with what we think happened. But I guess from right now, all I can conclude is that emotional conversation didn't happen.
Right.
But then heard him last time you were on with me, and he said everything we were saying and everything she was saying. So it's like, so then were there people with you like conversing with
Yes.
her? Is
And then
that what that
the
conversation?
3 FUs.
Yeah.
That
And
stuff leads
him,
me to think maybe there was like a verbal altercation at some point.
yeah. And then think about him just saying, the conversation went so many different ways. Is that because
Mhm.
other people are chiming in?
Right.
And
And what is
again, we don't know for sure.
Dylan Tallman says there were 4 people in the basement, or that they found. See, I don't think Dylan Tallman, again, believe what you want, but he said something about like there was 4 other people's DNA in the basement. I wonder more if maybe him and Chris are talking and Chris said there were 4 other people. I don't know, but it's just interesting. Again, you have these 2 ex prison buddies of Chris both stating it was more than Chris.
Right.
So believe it or not, but it's interesting.
Exactly. And I predict, I mean, he's only been in prison for 3 years. I predict very many more people like Dylan coming forward and saying,
Mhm.
I spent time with Chris and I don't think he did this alone. Or, I mean, people don't even think I don't know what they think, but they have a hard time believing that Chris did it alone, after spending time with him. So, you know, COVID, things are getting lifted as far as visitors and all that. I don't know who's going to be interviewing him next as far as like media source or journalist or author. I don't know, but I predict that something soon will be happening because everyone is interested in what's going on with Chris. I feel, people, crime shows, all that, they want more, and he's young as far as his life in prison goes. He's going to be in there a very long time, so there's going to be so many more stories coming out and people who wrote books, and don't you think?
I do, because yeah, I mean, killers or you know what I mean, people in prison give interviews 20 years later, and he's only in his early 30s. So,
And in my opinion, and this is just, I don't know, I'm still kind of doing more research, but the more people change their stories, like the more time goes on, like I don't think we're going to get the truth. Like I think Chris is going to be more elaborate in his lies. The stories are going to become more elaborate. Like we even have that new author talking a bunch of stuff, saying that she knew stuff that went on in the house that like nobody could possibly know. You know what I mean? So it's just, things are just going to get more and more misconstrued, I feel.
right. And I feel like at this point, nobody is fully going to believe what he says anyway. Even if he came out and gave a completely different confession, everybody is still going to doubt it to some degree. I feel he has no credibility.
Agree.
Maybe he is. I guess when he went into prison, he was early 30s, but he's been in, I guess it's been 4 years. So if he was early 30s then, he's later 30s now.
Yeah, I think he was 33 in 2018, but I'm not 100%. But yeah, I mean, he's almost 40 for sure. And I tend to believe his first confession before Tammy fed him everything. And he was saying that he didn't hurt his girls and that he didn't lie on the lie detector. So, that can go in more directions and he could still be guilty in all those different directions. But that doesn't mean that he was alone in this.
Agree.
Not more than that. I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think.
Are you crying? Is she crying?
It's back and forth. It's like, she's got, mascara. She didn't wash her face when she got home. She had makeup on still.
Okay. So she had mascara, and then he kind of like has to explain why she had the mascara running. Oh, she didn't wash her face when she got home, because I think he knew that it would be strange that, wait, her mascara, her makeup was running. Like, I thought she just woke up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm thinking the mascara is true when he says that. And then he realizes, like, wait, why would she have a full face of makeup on if she just woken up? You know what I mean? Like, because he says something about her, you know, I don't know, but pretty much
Yeah.
I think he realized that, like, the makeup thing needed to be explained, the mascara. And he's like, oh, she didn't take her makeup off. Like, it's just like added detail. You know what I mean?
And didn't he say earlier that he was sleeping when she got into bed? So it's like, did he really watch her not take her makeup off? If he's sleeping, how would he know that? I don't know. I just feel like it's interesting how he tries to explain that reasoning.
Yeah. So now I'm almost thinking, like, something did occur, you know, right away. She never made it to bed. That's why he
Right.
can't answer, you know, certain things about her waking up and stuff, because I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, it's just strange that he had to explain, you know, why her mascara was running. Like, you wouldn't think that he would have to explain that, but, like, I don't know. It's hard to explain the way I'm feeling, but I just think, like, him trying to explain, you know, well, she didn't take it off before she went to bed, because he knew that that would be strange sounding. But as long as he explains that, like, she didn't take it off before bed, he thinks it, like, makes up for the fact that, like, he just pretty much said, like, her makeup was running. So it's possible that it happened right away, in my opinion, the altercation.
Yeah. And then you think she was crying, and that's why it. It's just,
Exactly.
again, his timeline of this does not make sense. But yeah, I see
Agreed.
where you're going with that.
And Florida said he's lying.
You
Well,
think
yeah, we
he
know
never
that.
saw the mascara? Florida, you think he never saw mascara? He's just adding that in there.
Pink Dahlia said that it needed an explanation. Right. Thank you, Derek, so much for your support and always being in our chats. We really like your input, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Derek. And real quick, one thing I will say is the pillow with the makeup on it. I know, in my opinion, you can see an eyelash and what looks like a piece of glitter, but I'm not convinced that that was from that night or even, from Shanann. We don't know for sure if the makeup matched. Remember how they wanted the makeup bag back from Sandy? I wonder if that's what they were checking.
Right. There was something that needed to be compared. Yeah, that is interesting. The whole makeup on the pillowcase. And the fact that the bed sheets were stripped. Sometimes I wonder, I don't know. A lot of things to wonder, basically.
Hair was running all over and stuff like that. And
Hold on, let me rewind a little bit.
it was not mystery 4-star luxury hotel or something.
Just the two of you or the whole family?
Just me and her.
Okay.
And she had a man affair, couldn't watch the kids that weekend or something.
Okay.
And I was just like, can we cancel that? Can we like do something? Like, from what I remember, I even said, can we move to Brighton just to get away from like this house?
Oh.
But like, I'm not sure if that was like in the beginning or the end of part of the conversation or whatnot. That conversation was so many different ways. Like they had gone from like staying together to not staying together to just like all the above.
Okay. So this is half an hour, or what?
Hold on. I just want to rewind 1 second. I thought, I just want to hear something real quick. Thought he said they for a second, and then he changed it to it.
Mystery 4-star luxury hotel or something.
Just the two of you or the whole family?
Just me and her.
Okay.
And she had a man affair, couldn't watch the kids that weekend or something.
Okay.
And I was like, can we cancel that? Can we like do something? Like, from what I remember, I even said, can we move to Brighton just to get away from like this house?
Oh,
But like, I'm not sure if that was like in the beginning or the end of part of the conversation or whatnot. That conversation went so many different ways. Like they had gone from like staying together to not staying together to just like.
Did you hear that? He said this conversation had gone so many different ways. It gone from
I
a
did hear
staying.
it.
Hold on.
Yes.
I swear he said they, but you can't ever hear this in the first audio because it wasn't as sharp. So I'm just catching. I don't know. Hold on.
Mystery 4-star luxury hotel.
Sorry, guys. I
Is it
literally
two of you or
so
whole
hard to
family?
get the
It's me and
mouse.
her.
okay,
She had
I
man
wanna
there
get it,
and watched
so
the kids that
Just
weekend
bear
or
with
something.
me.
okay.
And I was like, can we cancel that? Can we like do something? Like, from what I remember, I even said, can we move to Brighton just to get away from like this house?
Oh,
But like, I'm not sure if that was like in the beginning or the end of part of the conversation or whatnot. That conversation went so many different ways. Like they had gone from like staying together to not staying together.
I don't know. I think he said they for a second.
Yeah, it seemed like it.
And then quickly it went from us staying together to not staying together. And then says that conversation went so many different ways, which is, it just seemed like that whole, what he was saying just was nothing. He's just talking
Right.
fluff.
Yeah, I feel like when he gets to talking this part with the conversation, he doesn't either he's really just lying or he doesn't really he's stuttering. I feel like that didn't happen the way he's saying it did. And he's fumbling a little bit.
And exactly, he's fumbling and the truth is slipping in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Because just like in other aspects of this conversation with the we's, we this and we that, and now we're hearing they. Who is confronting Shanann is what I'm thinking at this point. And
Yeah.
thanks for being here, the analyst. It's good to see
And
you.
hello, the house huddle. I'm glad you made it.
Yes, hello. And everyone
Yeah.
else who joined, thank you. We've been going for a little bit now, but yeah, so the first live stream, part 1 that we did the other night, we found him saying we. Now this one, it seems as though it's hearing they, and chat is saying that they hear the they also. It's very unsettling because it really does seem like the truth of what happened that night did involve they and we.
To just like all the above.
okay. So this is half an hour, or what?
Definitely not more than half an hour. I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think.
Are you crying? Is she crying?
It's back and forth. It's like, she's got, mascara. She didn't wash her face when she got home. She had makeup on still, so mascara was running all over her and stuff like that. And yeah, it was nothing about that conference. I just wish I could take all of it back. Just the whole Nikki thing back, everything.
So he's claiming that mascara is running all over her. The shirt that we see in evidence, which, is very dirty and has decomp fluids, I'm sure, on it. I don't see any mascara, though. And I wish we got more description. If the autopsy and maybe even the police notes were a little bit more detailed, was their mascara running? You know, like I wish we had that aspect, like as far as is his words matching what evidence we have? Because there's points in this where he talks about some stuff at the scene and it actually doesn't look like that at all at the scene.
Agree. Yeah, more like I just feel like if they did, there's so much evidence we don't have, and a lot of it really doesn't seem like they even checked for. And so many people say, well, you don't know what they did. Well, it's like, neither do you. The DA said the investigation was shut down when he pled guilty. But yeah, I don't know. And the thing is, even if she was, if think she was ambushed, she could have cried, and that is a vision that he really saw. And the conversation could have happened, but it could have been not just between him and Shanann, but between him, Shanann, and the accomplices, whoever they may be. And I thought it was interesting right there how he says, I wish I could take it back. And then he says the whole Nikki thing. So he's basically talking about this emotional conversation where he says by the end of it, he strangles her. But then he's saying, I wish I could take it all back, the whole Nikki thing. So interesting again how he's talking about those kind of final moments, this big conversation, and then he brings back the Nikki thing. I don't know. It's just interesting.
It's like he's saying she's the reason this happened, and it's not that, well, you were just hit by the love bug. That's not what he means by she's the reason this happened. It wasn't just the lust and he didn't want that family. Like, I'm sure that had a lot to do with it. I'm not saying that doesn't tend to happen, like with affairs and excitement, etc. But it was more, and the Nikki thing, he doesn't want, that's the thing is he's always, and if you listen to him with Coder, he's throwing out these life, save me, pick up on what I'm saying, but they never, either they're picking up on it and ignoring it, or they're just not picking up on it right away.
Yeah.
But I think that when he says the Nikki thing, it's like, wait a minute, we're talking about you killing your wife right now. I wish I could take it all back. It's like he doesn't have any, and people see it as like, oh, he can't face his actions. But if other people were doing it, hypothetically, maybe that's why he has this sort of detachment from the crime.
Right. Yeah.
So when did it turn?
As far as that conversation, just at the end when I was telling her, I told her I didn't love her anymore. That's when it happened.
What happened?
And back to the mascara thing real quick. Even if she left by, say somebody pulled a gun and was like, you're coming with us. You know what I mean? Like she could have been crying and Chris could have seen something like that too. You know what I mean? Like when he's referring to the mascara was running, it's like there's so many other scenarios that her mascara could have been, he'd seen something like that. And it doesn't have to be what the district attorney is saying took place. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And this whole story is just so unbelievable. Coder says, when did it turn? And he said, at the end, when I was on her, I told her I didn't love her anymore. I mean, and even Coder at one point says in this interview, he says, my wife would not let me be sitting on her while she's pregnant at 2 a.m. having an emotional conversation. He's like, did it really happen that way? He's kind of pushing it because he finds it unbelievable, in my opinion. So, we know Shanann's personality. I cannot see her just laying there letting Chris be on top of her as she has mascara running all down her face. And he's saying, I don't love you anymore.
How would mascara be running down her face if she's laying on her back?
Yeah.
It's just, again,
yes, this is supposed to be his confession, but it doesn't make sense.
No, it really doesn't.
In my opinion.
No, yeah, and it seems as though chat is agreeing, it's just obviously, yeah.
And I think Coder and Tammy, no, it doesn't make sense. Coder seems a little more open to getting more information and kind of pushing back at the story a little bit, where Tammy changes the subject and closes down the information that Chris is trying to give. Like Tammy wants it to stay light and on her path, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Florida, I agree. Florida says, Kelly, that's all lies. Yeah, I do agree with you.
Yeah.
But some people believe this.
No, yeah, that's the thing.
They think he did it alone because he said so, but he's also using we and they.
And he only said so through the plea deal. Like, that's the thing, is that I really want this time around, I want everyone to kind of be on board with me with this. They died August. By November, that's the only time he said, okay, I guess I'll confess to them all because I will sign this plea deal. Up until that point, he never was saying it. And unfortunately, there was a leak from law enforcement to the media, and we've uncovered this on CDT's channel, that they said that he confessed to all the murders the night of his arrest, which that wasn't the confession. And the arrest affidavit states exactly what happened after the polygraph. He blamed Shanann for the children, and then he said he had to do it to Shanann. And that's what the arrest affidavit said, and that's what he said to when he gets arrested. So he gets arrested, he goes to prison, wakes up or goes to jail, county jail, wakes up the next day, and all of a sudden he's told somehow through however that he confessed to killing them all, when that's not what had happened. But the media ended up saying 2 law enforcement individuals told us that he confessed to it all. So that didn't happen the way that we were told, which is another thing that we kind of have to realize in this case, that the media was very shady. And unfortunately, it seems as though law enforcement is not to be trusted either. I'm sorry, but it just is, that's the way it is in this case. I hate to say it.
I have to agree. And I feel like that is one of the reasons so many people are still interested in the case, because it was handled, I don't know, just with the whole plea deal. There was no trial, all these different confessions. There's just a lot to it. The discovery, the redactions from the discovery, the media, there's a lot.
Yeah. And the other thing is, this was 2018, not saying that there weren't web sleuths then, but I just feel as though for whatever reason, true crime has really grown on social media, like not just Facebook groups or true crime book clubs, like it's a whole different community on YouTube. And I believe that they underestimated, people like you and me who were going to like comb through everything and be like, wait, this isn't adding up, So it's just, we're just unfortunately showing it to all you guys. Like, these are our opinions, and thus far, it's just really shady. And there's just no truth in this case at all. Except that it's a tragedy, of course,
So we get off her and then up on the end.
Okay.
Did you say she said something like that you were hurting the baby or something?
That was before that, because like when I was straddling her, it was kind of like around her waist type deal.
Why did you get on her like that?
I just when we got on the bed, that's just what I got on.
Is that so she would listen to you?
Will you
I felt
pause it
like
real
she
quick?
probably listened to me just laying beside her, but I got on top of her.
Okay. If you go back a little bit, I feel like he stutters right there and says, "We got on the bed." I feel like I noticed this when I listened to it, but go back just right there. And that's another, again, unbelievable thing. Tammy says, didn't she say you were hurting the baby or something like that? And he was like, that was before that. So we're supposed to believe Shanann said, "You're hurting the baby, Chris. You're on me," but yet continued to lay there and have this conversation, and mascara's all over her face. And he says he doesn't love her anymore, and that's kind of what
And
happened.
why is Tammy speaking for Shanann?
Yes, I
Did
agree.
you say you were hurting the baby?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you go back, it says,
I
and
will.
then
I definitely will. And
she
I,
was
for
already in
one,
bed.
I, you know, her autopsy is still like debatable because, you know, we just don't have 100% of it. I do wonder if her prolapsed uterus has anything to do with some sort of physical altercation. So if there was an attack on a bed or, you know, whatever, you know, was that caused from some sort of injury? Because we don't really have a medical expert saying that it was a coffin birth. That was the reason for that. Everyone speculated, like, and this never went to trial, so we never got like the real details. But if something happened and she, and you know, they crushed her or whatever, like, I don't know. I'm not an expert, but I'd be curious to know if her prolapsed uterus had anything to do with some sort of physical, you know, whatever.
Right. It's possible for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, until somebody says I'm a medical examiner and that's not what
Yeah.
happened. I'm sorry, but that's all we
I
have with
wish
the trial.
it's frustrating we don't even have a time of death for Shanann. Yeah, I know that medical what are they called who read autopsies? Haven't they, coroners, have spoken on Shanann's autopsy? And I have heard them say it was definitely incomplete. Some things were
Mm-hmm. And
like it was
then
just missing a lot.
And then I had read an article that I shared in our Chris Watts group, and it says something about, I don't know, it was just like I'd never read it before. And I was like, whoa, I didn't know that. It says something about due to the attack, the brutality of the attack or something, that was why that ended up happening. I'll show it to you like in our private
Yeah.
chat, and then I can bring it to you guys. But I was just like, I never seen anybody comment on it. And that's what I was combing through was like the early articles. Like instead of just going to the video clips, I was looking at articles, and then I was like, whoa. So hold on. Let me rewind it a little bit.
Like staying together to not staying together to just like all of the above.
Okay. So this is half an hour, what?
Definitely not more than half an hour. I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think.
Are you crying? Is she crying?
It's back and forth. It's like, you know, she's got, you know, mascara. She didn't wash her face when she got home. She had makeup on still, so mascara is running all over her and stuff like that. And yeah, it was nothing about that conference. I just wish I could take all of it back. Just the whole Nikki thing back, everything. But
So then when did it turn?
as far as that conversation, just at the end when I was telling her, like, I told her I didn't love her anymore. That's when it happened.
What happened?
She told me to get off her, and then I put my hands on her.
Okay.
Did you say she said something like that you were hurting the baby or something?
That was before that, because like when I was straddling her, it was kind of like around her waist type deal.
Why did you get on her like that?
I just when we got on the bed, that's just what.
When we got on the bed. Is that what you heard?
Did you hear where he kind of slipped and said we? Yeah. I heard when we got on the bed.
Yeah, when we got on. And
But
when
according to him, Shanann had been in bed. But I'm wondering, maybe I'm hearing things, but
hold on. I mean, it's not the first time we've caught him saying we, so we're super
yeah.
hypersensitive to it now. But you know how this mouse is. Is there a way to like go back just like 10 seconds? Like what the heck? Struggling.
Like that.
I know. Yeah, on a phone.
When we got on the bed,
Oh, When
Did
we
you
got
hear it?
on,
When
I
we got
swear.
off, when we got on the bed.
The whole Nikki thing back, everything, but
So then when did it turn?
as far as that conversation, just at the end when I was telling her, like, I told her I didn't love her anymore. That's when it happened.
What happened?
She told me to get off her, and then I put my hands on her.
Okay.
Did you say she said something?
He couldn't even say, then I put my hands on her. It didn't even sound like believable at all.
Yeah.
Noticing that this time around, put my hands on her. He's like mumbling it, like, speak up. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Got
very,
real quiet.
yeah, not believable. And then what do you know? Tammy chimes in. Did you say that she said? Why would she say that? Like, did he say that at some point and they edited it out? Or is she saying, like, did she say? It was just like weird the way she said that. Did you say that she said you're hurting the baby? I don't know. It just seemed as though like they had talked about something that we didn't hear or something.
Like that you were hurting the baby or something?
That was before that, because like when I was straddling her, it was kind of like around her waist type deal.
Why did you get on her like that?
I just when we got on the bed, that's just what I got on.
Is that
Yeah, I mean, he definitely says we.
Yeah.
When we got on the bed.
That's when I got on.
Yeah. And it's like, could he have meant like them, but she was already in bed, so it couldn't have meant them. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, because his entire narrative is that she's been laying in bed.
Yeah. But then it's like, okay, so then if something happened in the basement, it was led down there, possibly, by people. I mean, Chris said himself earlier, she was out of it. Like he was referring to her like kind of being sleepy, but like what does out of it mean? Like was she passed out for some reason? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I mean the events of what could have happened in that house, there's so many scenarios of what could have happened.
Right. And I'm definitely not believing this one that he's trying to sell to them.
No. Me either.
And that's what's so frustrating is like, so then what? We're just supposed to be left with this and take it as what you guys say it is?
Right.
so she would listen to you?
I felt like she could probably listen to me just laying beside her, but I got on top of her. Mm-hmm. And every time I think about it, I'm just like, did I know I was going to do that before I got on top of her? I don't know.
Really? That's an interesting thought, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if you knew.
Why would he be thinking, did I know I was going to get on top of her? It's almost
Right.
like if it was premeditated, then like, yeah, he did know that.
Yeah. That's an interesting thought too, because yeah, I go back and forth with how premeditated I think Chris thought everything was and what his exact role did he play in all of it?
And what is the
But
purpose of them not calling him out on the theys and the we's? Like, are they just gathering their own information and they just want to keep him talking without seeming like they're interrogating? Or is it they're only going to pry and bring up the things that they want to bring up and steer it the way they want to kind of make them look good, and it really has nothing to do with the investigation or what he's slipping up on.
right, that's a good question. Like what is their reasoning behind not calling it out?
And you would think that like if they cared, they would be calling it out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was 3 years ago. I kind of remember listening to this before 2020 and thinking, well, they know that he's not telling the truth here. You know what I mean? And thinking like they must be doing something. Years go by.
Mm-hmm. I know.
And I'm like, wait, so they really think we're going to believe this?
Yeah.
And then that's it.
Right. Chris did it all because he said so. Let's
Right.
ignore all the other circumstantial evidence and words that by Chris could lead you to believe he didn't act alone. And it was all Chris because he said so. Put a bow on it and call it a day.
Right. And it's like they're satisfied knowing he's there, and I'm satisfied knowing he's in prison too. But there's just so many things that it's like, wait a minute, like there's more here.
Yeah, I mean, this was a horrific crime. A pregnant woman, her 2 young daughters, and the disposal of the daughters. I mean, that is just so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm happy he's in prison too. But like you're saying, are there other people that should be also? I mean, the mind should be open to that, I feel.
And it's clear that he doesn't want other people involved. I mean, he said that about NK before he was ever even arrested, that he didn't want her to get involved. And for some reason, Coder was like, okay. But
Yeah,
regardless,
no problem.
why does he get to have his way? Like, even though he's rotting in prison, he knows that he's holding in secrets that won't hurt other people's lives. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that Chris at the end of the day thinks, yes, I'm seen as a bad man, but I know that there's a bunch of people that see me as good because I'm not dragging them down in what actually happened. It like say the
Mm-hmm.
exclusion plan didn't end the way that it was supposed to, and other people were involved in that, and then they're not being thrown under the bus. Like, Chris at the end of the day feels like he has his prison religion to rely on, and the fact that he's protected people, because at this point, which I'll stop tonight, but we're only an hour in, so we didn't really even make it that far tonight. But he has not once mentioned, Troy McCoy or Cody Roberts, people that he worked with. He hasn't even really even mentioned work that much, besides saying that he wished he never went to the office and met NK, in so many words.
Mm-hmm.
So if hypothetically, in my opinion, if there's more to this and he's sleeping fine because he's got his new religion, and like I said, he feels like he's done good. Like, it could have been worse for more people.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And then back in August, he even said, I don't want to protect her. I mean, so many people still think he was talking about NK. Like he was kind of conflicted there. I don't want to protect her, but what did he do? Allegedly, in my opinion, he did end up protecting NK. And then David Carter echoes the same kind of thing. Again, take David for how you will. I believe that is David's truth. I mean, could Chris have been lying to David? Yes, there's a lot of scenarios, but he says that, Chris knew he was going to go down anyway for Shanann, and he just took it all. And like that goes with what you're saying, Amber, where if he is covering for others, and I feel he is, at least to some level, that he feels like a good person because he took all the blame. And Chris's twisted mind, he's just so
Yes.
odd.
I mean, people say he's an enigma. He knows the truth. He knows where, in his mind, that God knows the truth in him. If other people hurt the children, then he knows he didn't do that either. Like there's like House Huddle said, some sort of redemption in his eyes of, him holding on to like protecting other people. You know what I mean? Because I'm not saying everybody knew that Shanann was going to die in this explosion plan, but they might have just been involved in the explosion aspect.
Sorry, I got distracted for a second. Just being honest.
I was just reading chat, but not even out loud either. So I probably could have read them out loud. But yeah, House Huddle said, I believe law enforcement used the victim card to him because of her mental illness and guilted him to take all the blame. Hi, Vicky. Yeah, Lauren said he's good at obeying women until the next new thing comes along. I wonder if maybe there could be another female agent that could get more truth out of him.
I would like it if someone came in and said, have you been telling people in here that you didn't kill the girls and others were involved, and just see how he responds. But yeah, I really wonder if he will ever do any. I think he'll talk again someday.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the rest of his life. I'm assuming at some point, some statement will be made. Lauren said, hopefully he will soon expose others involved if there were. I think even if he doesn't, the way that we're going to comb through things here and on CDT's channel is we're just going to expose it and kind of lay it out for you. We've done like a lot of good work with the coworkers that he worked with. So if you check out our live streams from that research, it's just things that you just can't explain if you believe he acted alone. How do you explain the shadiness that we've kind of pulled out from his coworkers?
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot to comb through, and I mean, I have so many notes. I'm ready to go through it all again because it's just crazy. The entire case, and Chris, and the whole narrative that we've been fed.
Right. There's just a lot of stuff to kind of elaborate on and comb through. Stuff actually that there's just not enough time, like, because you go off on these tangents with things that you uncover and you're just like, wow, okay, this would take a whole hour to explain. But from what we've seen too, is like we said, the media was just putting out that he confessed to all of them before that ever took place. And it only took place on the plea deal. And I think that detail is important to kind of remember, that law enforcement told media that he confessed to them all when he didn't at that point.
Right. And I just think it's important. I mean, look at, again, it goes both ways. Like in the case of Cody Bigsby, the law enforcement denied him a lawyer. I mean, that's not going to be good. And then now we have this, like they came out and said a completely different narrative than what Chris had said. Whether you believe it or whatever, they should have done an investigation, in my opinion, and not come out immediately and leaked this to officers close to an investigation. It's like, well, who do you think that was? It's just frustrating that it all played out this way. It really is.
Yeah, because imagine being his defense attorney and finding out that the media is already on Twitter and, reaching probably millions of people that your client confessed to all these murders when he didn't. Can you imagine being that lawyer? Like,
Yeah.
and people wonder, why the lawyer pushed the plea deal, because he knew he was screwed at that point. Like, it's him against the media at that point.
Yep, I agree.
And if you go through like just the court filings of this case, there was one point where it was mentioned that his defense team was like wanted to restrict media from being somewhere or something. Like they were like trying to protect him more from media, and said something about a leak or something, and DA Rourke brushed it off. And I think
Yeah.
it didn't ever even, I think it got denied by the judge. I'd have to go back through that, but I just think yeah, the analyst said Tammy needs to stop teaching him to lie.
I agree.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, literally.
She's just like spoon feeding him
Right. Oh my
all
god.
through it.
And think about it. She did that in the first confession, and now she's doing it here in the prison one. Like, we don't have Chris's confession. We have Tammy's 2 confessions.
Yep, that's true.
Like, this is just Tammy's story.
Neither of Chris's confessions makes sense to me, and neither one are how I think it happened.
I know. I agree. And it just gets worse and worse, because then if you rely on things that he said to Cadel, no, I'm sorry.
No, yeah, Cadel is not credible, in my
When it
opinion.
when it comes to his letters, those are valuable, but just like here and just like in his polygraph interview, it's mostly lies, but here and there you'll see him throw us a bone of like, what does he mean by this statement? Like when you pointed out what he said about in one of the letters, if you feel you haven't been told the truth, that's because you have, or what did he say?
Yeah, it was if you feel that there's more to the story than what I've told the FBI, you would be correct. Something like that. He wrote it in an interesting way. But he also hand wrote that NK had a group of very dark friends. I mean, that's in his writing. But then he also wrote he knew it would be the last time tucking his kids into bed. But you could also look at that if there was some type of plan. And then he goes to the Lazy Dog that Saturday. And that's when, again, he said that was the last straw. Light switch in my head goes off, light switch in her head goes off. Who knows what all really went down? Then he comes home, and maybe he did go tuck his girls in or check on his girls, and has in the back of his mind that something is, it's going to happen or whatever. I don't know.
Right. I mean, a gut instinct, like that he shouldn't be doing what he's doing, and like maybe he knew like I'm going to get caught or something, so maybe that is what he means by like I knew that that was going to be the last night I took him in. Like he just had a feeling like this isn't going to end well.
Right.
I mean, you can really take it so many different ways,
Mhm. Yeah, you really can.
but Gwendolyn Karen said, the analysts, we agree so many people admire Tammy. I feel the exact opposite. She's a major part of the problem. And I won't discredit that. I'm sure she's done good in her career, but I'm sorry. This is just inexcusable. And she has no reason, because everyone wants to throw her the bone of, she got him to confess and he's in prison, good. And it's like, good, but why is she still having him spoon fed the story while he's in prison? She doesn't need a confession out of him at this point. And thank you, Mar. She said, still listening. I love you and CDT together. Thank you. We love talking about true crime in general together, and especially this case, because it's just so maddening that like you need a community to kind of help you through it.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, it is so nice to have people to chat about all this with, and work it all out with and give different opinions, and it makes you think of different things. So, yeah, thank you, Marar.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's as much as I can do again. Like as soon as I have to do this interview in like 2 hour increments because it just is frustrating and it's like
Yeah.
exhausting and I want to be able to hear the we's and the they and the other slip ups. So I gotta be sharper. So I'm winding down, but I really appreciate everybody in chat being here. And like we were saying, we're just combing through things again. And tomorrow or tomorrow evening, I believe you said you were going to do more of the body cam footage.
Yeah, I want to just do the dog where they bring in the dogs, and yeah, Jane and Officer Lyons are there, and just go through that. But we've just been watching it. We started on day 1. We've done now day 1, and now tomorrow will be day 2. And just rewatch it and chat as we watch it.
Yes. And then, yeah, just keep an eye out on both of our channels for everything that we can bring you, like with cases that are going on right now as well. Open cases like the Summer Wells case. And oh, hi, Missy. It's good to see you.
Hello.
She says it's the case of 2 steps forward and 3 steps backwards. Yeah,
Yes.
pretty
And
much.
yeah. And hello, Meg.
Hi, Meg. Okay, well, I guess that is all I had to say for tonight, guys, and we'll talk very soon. And thank you for being here. CDT, I really appreciate you
Yeah.
and your brain.
I appreciate you and yours also. Thanks for
Okay,
having
awesome.
me. And bye,
Okay.
chat.
Yeah, thanks everyone, and thank you to the mods, and we'll talk soon. I'll post when I do this next on my community page, the part 3.